Thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Nisha Charles. Coming up, Dominican voters go to the polls on December 8, 2014. The Dr. Nicholas Liverpool Highway has been officially commissioned, and 20 have been awarded with National Service honors. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thanks for staying with us. Dominican voters will go to the polls on December 8, 2014. The Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit made the announcement during an address to the nation, which was broadcast live on television and radio on Wednesday afternoon.
Nomination Day will be Wednesday, the 19th day of November 2014. General elections and the date on which the Commonwealth of Dominica will determine its political, social, and economic future is Monday, the 8th day of December 2014. Election Day is Monday, the 8th day of December 2014.
The Dominican leader in his address spoke of significant gains by the ruling Dominican Labour Party administration in a variety of sectors including tourism, agriculture, housing, education, energy and infrastructural development.
During the past 14 years, your government has focused on upgrading primary, secondary, and feeder roads throughout Dominica. By 2014, we had brought all major and secondary roads connecting villages and cities up to an acceptable standard. The recent formal opening and naming of the Dr. Nicholas Liverpool Highway was part of the acknowledgement of the considerable progress we have made on upgrading our roads.
The Dominican leader, who is also leader of the Dominican Labour Party, said it was important that Dominican voters ask themselves some critical questions.
Do we wish to continue on a progressive trajectory, or will we, by our actions, trigger a reversal of the strides we have made over the past 14 years? Shall we maintain strong diplomatic and other relations with those who have befriended us, or shall we go off on a fishing expedition in regards to foreign policy and international relations? Shall we to maintain responsibility for our pathways to progress, or shall we ascribe such to Europeans interested only in the sale of Dominican passports? These are crucial questions, ladies and gentlemen.
He warned of the implications of the answers to these all-important questions.
A wrong decision at this time could retard the progress and set this country back 10 or even 20 years. That would be disastrous for Dominica going into the third decade of the 21st century.
GIS News will bring you more details of the Prime Minister's address in Thursday's newscast. We will also replay the Prime Minister's address in its entirety following this newscast and throughout our programming.
On this, the first day of November 2014, the year of our Lord, it gives me great pleasure to name the highway from Poncasse to the Douglas Schultz Airport, the Dr. Nicholas Liverpool Highway.
The Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit addressing the official commissioning of the Dr. Nicholas Liverpool Highway last Saturday. Significant amount of financial resources have been invested by the ruling DLP administration into the rehabilitation of the highway.
The final cost of the roadworks is 74.3 million EC dollars and the bridges 9.3 million EC dollars exclusive of that. we can now celebrate the fact that we have a much improved road to the Douglas Charles Airport.
Taxi driver Paul Carlton has applauded the Roosevelt-Skerrit-led administration for the improvements to the highway.
It's a road presently on which you save time and problem. A road that the visitors that I drove is well pleased with. One man said to me, for you to get investors here, you ought to have good roads, and clap hands off for those who see the need to bring the good roads.
The Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt-Skerrit defended his administration's decision to commission the highway in the name of Dr. Liverpool.
We need to name this stretch of road from where we stand to the Douglas Charles Airport after a distinguished son of the soil, a true patriot who, through his brilliance and outstanding work in academia, and in particular the law, and his loyal and dignified service to our country, have earned himself regional and international acclaim. His work has caused the world to take a closer look at Dominica.
His Excellency President of Dominica, Charles Sanvre, presented a plaque and scroll to Dr. Nicholas Liverpool, who then addressed the ceremony.
On behalf of all members of my family, I must say how grateful we all are for this honor bestowed upon me today.
A sign was also unveiled by Verna Liverpool, wife of Dr. Liverpool. GIS News will bring you more details of last weekend's commissioning in Thursday's newscast. On the day of Dominica's 36th anniversary of independence, November 3, 2014, the nation's leader addressed the parade of uniformed groups at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. His address to the nation centered on Dominica's ability to persevere.
We have been no strangers to adversity. We have survived hurricanes and earthquakes, floods and droughts, and come to the very brink of fiscal and economic collapse. Throughout this period, our citizens have remained resolute and resilient. We adjusted our lifestyles and made the sacrifices necessary to rise to the challenge. We also required our representatives and institutions to do the same to keep Dominica afloat. In response, your government has risen to the many challenges with strong, decisive, and proactive leadership. As a responsible government, we adopted and implemented prudent fiscal policies and careful economic management, thereby restoring order to the ship of state and regaining the confidence of the international community in our country.
The Honorable Prime Minister reported that his government's action have all been in the best interest of Dominica as the island continues to overcome. A major highlight of the annual event is the National Service Awards ceremony. 19 individuals and one group were recognized for service to country, with the island's head of state, His Excellency the President, Charles Sanvre, bestowing the prestigious awards. The Dominica Award of Honor is the award of the highest recognition under the Meritorious Act, Chapter 1909. This award is conferred on persons who have made a significant contribution to the country's development. Each president of Dominica is bestowed with that honor. This award was bestowed on Ms. Winifred Webb for Youth Development, Mrs. Ann Timothy for Public and Community Achievement, Ms. Jean Joseph in Absentia for Diaspora Affairs, Mrs. Bernadette Francis for Early Childhood Education, Mr. Danley Guy for Culture, and Mr. Anthony Toussaint for his service in the profession of surveying. The second highest award is the Cicero of Honor bestowed on Mrs. Jennifer Wallace Lafont in the field of education and Dr. Hendricks Paul Esquire. The Services Medal of Honor is bestowed on persons of organizations that have provided valuable contributions to the development of the country in the area of community and social development. This past weekend, 8 individuals and the Tibois Cultural Group received that honor. Mr. Cyril James and Mr. Jeffrey Francis Charles for Transportation, Mr. Don Leogal for Sports, Mr. Andre Charles for Agriculture, Ms. Andriana Henderson for Culture, Mr. Morris Cyril for Journalism, and Mr. Julius Daru for Community Development. The long service medal is bestowed on public officers, current or retired, who have given long service, usually over 20 years in a particular field. The recipients this year were Miss Linda Vigilant and Miss June Joseph for their work in early childhood education and Miss Juliana Commodore for nursing. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt délivre l'adresse par nation aujourd'hui. Honorable Skerritt en parole et délivré, expliquer manière les partis Dominique qui pays là en ces 14 années là qui passent, qui mène développement. Premier ministre a dit gouvernement ça là qui continue à s'échimer ça là, bagaille pour mettre Dominicain en l'air. Honorable Skerritt mentionné Memorandum of Understanding qui Dominique signe et puis People's Republic of China bâti base avion international en Compton Point. Et aussi fait parole 54 millions de dollars gouvernement dépensé à ces projets géothermiques. Premier ministre a dit France déjà d'accord pour continuer à supporter le pays là et puis projet ça là. Premier ministre Skerritt mentionné plusieurs d'autres bagailles en effort ça là. Tous ces développements ça là il parle compte. Honorable Skerritt fait parole comme il m'a dit président His Excellency Charles Sovereign pour désolver le Parlement immédiatement et puis pour paver chimé Dominicain électé au gouvernement neuf à le 8 décembre l'année là. Pour ça, Dominicain qui électé au gouvernement neuf à le 8 décembre l'année là. Alors, nouvelle travail chimé point place en Rosso Sud. C'est l'homme Parlement Honorable Ambrose George. L'occasion, Liverpool et puis Everton Estate tapé attention.
Nous avons un rôle de développement case, la privée développement point place. Avec une année qui passe, avec ces gens-là développés, ils ont tourné d'oyo à ces chimères. So, quand on parle même parlement, moi je crois que moi j'ai une responsabilité pour manger ces chimères. So, ça nous a fait actuellement Leopoldville, c'est en place développé neuf. Avec autant de monde qui a fait casio, des gens qui ont construit casio maintenant. Mais chimère, il y a une croisée. Avec des gens qui ont autant de débats, challenge pour traverser chimère. So, mon fait en manière, nous trouver l'argent avec nous construire un chemin neuf avec rigid concrete. À son chemin qui est là pour 25, 30, 40 years avant on est pour faire maintenance à ce chemin ça. C'est ces gens là qui vivent à place là, ces résidents là, yo aiment ça qu'a fait. C'est parole là nous t'en dire c'est parole qui positive avec il a en jeunesse encore moins pour voir que travail là mon fait bah ces monde là à Leopoldville. Avec nous on a aussi à Everton Estate même chose nous qu'a fait avec ces mêmes manière ces monde là qui apprécier ça par le café ça moins café ba yo pour aider yo pour traverser pour commute avec pour marcher à ce chemin qui belle pour rentrer case pour votre environnement.
La nouvelle gouvernement Dominique a tapé la place pour produire pays à l'autre pays. Parole celle-là sortie du ministre commodité honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre.
Si on quitte les gens qui mettent n'importe bagaille n'importe bagaille produit à market là ça qui quoi c'est bail là. So nous regarder quand Guadeloupe, Martinique, Saint-Martin et puis toutes les autres du market nous parce que nous aimons ça nous produire à Dominique parce que nous bien sérieux. Et c'est pour ça nous parler à market difference ça nous parler quand là c'est en manière nous ça lever valeur qualité ça nous à toutes ces agricultural produce nous à Dominique. Et bien monter bien content pour moun quitter là nous de bien content et puis nous pour ça nous faire.
Et puis finalement journée service national chaîne tout mon pays là et puis succès. Plusieurs communautés étaient bien engagées à bâtir projet de développement, bagaille qu'on chimé, dans peinturer l'occasion et bagaille comme ça. Équipe GIS de tout mon pays qui a couvert ces différents projets là. Plusieurs membres parlement et puis d'autres groupes étaient bien engagés et puis ces différents projets là. Toute l'année, le gouvernement Dominique a fait provision l'argent et puis matériaux par plusieurs communautés ou un pays là ou là, vous pouvez engager un bagage développement communauté. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up, tips on managing and reducing stress. Stress management begins with identifying the stress magnets in your life. Although not all stress can be avoided, here are some tips to help reduce your stress level. Indulge in physical activity. When you feel stressed, go for a brisk walk in the fresh air. Regular physical activity will also improve the quality of your sleep. And on the subject of sleep, a lack of it is a significant cause of stress. Aim to maximize your relaxation before heading to bed. You can also help your relaxation by taking a warm bath before bed. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS production team, I'm Nisha Charles. Thanks for watching.